Tucson, Arizona, where they have, it's sort of the graveyard of airplanes. This guy behind the desk said, somebody is selling an airplane, a DC-8, the whole thing. So my construction coordinator, Ward Welton, actually cut it in 3 pieces and trucked it into the city, St. Louis, at night, without permits. We just sort of snuck it in at 3 o'clock in the morning and laid it out as this great crash.
So we started with a Panaglide Steadicam shot with following Kurt, and he brings us slowly to a reveal of this airplane, and then we walk up with him. And we realized that for effectiveness, there was going to have to be some life given to it, so we did that with fires around. I think there were a couple of skittering people and shadows in the background, smoke drifting, all of these things, and then the flicker generators that I had built, creating the oscillating flickering firelight on buildings. It was really quite an effective moment, and it was probably one of my most memorable shooting nights, that airplane, and how we had to make it work.
I'm at the plane. Nobody else made it, Hauk. Wait a minute. I've got his pulse.
I think Escape from New York, to me, has always sort of stood alone as far as, or at least was maybe the first of a particular genre of films.
There's 2 kinds of future movies. One is a utopian vision, and one is a dystopian vision. This was a dark future, a future that didn't work, the police state type thing.
It was such a unique sort of film. I mean, there was nothing that we could relate to, and as far as having been done exactly like that, except for the Western.
I think you could take Escape from New York, you could take Big Trouble in Little China, and they're both Westerns, and curiously enough, or more obviously enough, the characters that Kurt plays in that are takeoffs of classic Western heroes, Clint Eastwood and John Wayne.
I said, well, you know what? If Lee Van Cleef's going to be Hauk, I'm just going to go right down that road, and I won't do Clint Eastwood, but I'll look at it the same way that Clint Eastwood looked at those characters. I said, it fits perfectly. That's what he should sound like.
Plane crashed 7 hours ago near 8th Avenue. Did you see it?
No.
People who look at Westerns say that they are now classic mythology, that they are distinctive characters. They are usually good and evil, and a villain that has to be overcome, and a hero who has to grow at some point throughout it, and the various other people that populate that world who all contribute to this, the mythology and the adventure.
This whole deal of yours is over, Snake. You and Brain just say goodbye to each other.
He's so versed in that world that it probably is like is just part of his genetic makeup at this point. Whatever's going to come out of him is so much a part of his film experience. That's what he loves. And that's what got him excited about it. So I mean, it's part and parcel of who he is at this point.
Some guys have a story to tell, and so they tell it and they pan over to here. You know what I mean? That's the way they tell the story. John Carpenter tells it like, in those days, John Carpenter told it like this, and you hear the guy talking, and you hear the guy talking, and he stops talking, and he only gets to there. He had a different timing, a different framing. He had a different style, and it was very different at that time. It was eerie.
Who are you?
Once we finish the scene, and he said, cut, and then they'd say, check the gate, make sure the thing is clean, no trash on the film. And then I would look around for John, and John's sitting somewhere squatting, looking. I said, what is he doing? Somebody said, oh, he's checking his next scene. He knew what he wanted. He was looking at the next scene, visualizing and all this kind of stuff. So he was constantly on the move.
When something is good for the character, he's all for it. When something's not good for the character, he's very fair about saying, let's think about that. He gives you a chance to back out of it gracefully.
He's easy to be with, and he leaves actors alone, and he knows what he's doing.
John is like I said, a really easygoing guy, but he also has a very strong vision. And he understands what he wants to do and wants to say. And that's why it says John Carpenter's this and John Carpenter's that and 5 more John Carpenters along the way. It is his film.
He knows what he wants to see, but if he's got any question about how to get it, he's the most collaborative guy. He just says, here's what here's what we want to get, right? And how do we get it? And then you get the chance to talk about it. And when you feel the same way about it, you generally find it very quickly.
Come on, get up.
One of the things that we wanted to do in the film in terms of Snake Plissken's character is once he's captured by these criminals in the prison of Manhattan, they put him through different tests. They want to test his courageousness, his will to live, how strong he is. And one of the ideas was to put him in a ring in Madison Square Garden with the biggest, baddest guy we could find. And so casting him, we wanted a real wrestler. We wanted somebody who's just, the image of him would make people cringe, knowing what Snake Plissken was about to do, which was to prove his will to live and his strength.
Ox Baker, this big dude, man, he was a serious wrestler. Kurt got beat up bad. I mean, he took a lot of blows, man. He had bruises and all kinds of stuff. I mean, Ox, his thing was to pull the punches, pull the blows, but some blows got through. And Kurt was a pro. He took it.
The scene where Snake Plissken hits him in the back of the neck with the baseball bat was just really choreographed. I mean, it's about placing the cameras. I believe we had multiple cameras. I think we probably had, for sure, 3 and possibly 4 cameras in that particular scene. So it's the choreography, it's the magic of where you put the camera to make it real.
I have fond memories of sitting on the Chain of Rocks Bridge where we filmed at dusk and finish at dawn. And all night long, mosquitoes, big as bats, looked like were dive bombing us. And I was going, repellent? What repellent? Mosquito eat repellent? What else you got? Terrible mosquitoes. And I would sit there and listen to Ernest Borgnine tell his stories of his experience in acting and stuff like that. And just sitting around like a little kid by a campfire. It was great, man.
Adrienne Barbeau's character, when we edited the movie together, we realized that we didn't actually see her die. It was ambiguous.
They weren't sure she died. By this time, we had finished filming. We weren't in St. Louis anymore. So we went down to our garage and moved the cars out and laid me out on the floor and put some blood in my hair. And so there's a final shot of Maggie, bleeding to death.
Everybody wanted to get across that bridge. Kurt wanted to get across because he wanted this thing to go off in his neck. But I wanted freedom. And lo and behold, the poor beat-up president he went crazy. He just took me out. And, I got my comeuppance.
I think it was at the dam where they had set up a futuristic army complex. Really well done. I think one of the best usages of a real location tied into some stuff that Joe Alves did. The final scene was being shot where the president, Donald Pleasance, is finally telling the world that he has this special thing that he's going to play, and it's going to save the world, bring peace to the world, and he plays it, and it turns out to be the American Bandstand theme, and the real thing that's so important, Snake Plissken is walking away, taking it apart and ruining it in the most cynical ending in motion picture history, probably.
I needed to do a movie like that to be able to go on to have the kind of career that I have had. I had to have him direct the movie. I had to be lucky enough to have those things happen. And I had to be fortunate enough for someone to want me enough that he would fight for me. What's great about Escape from New York for me...
Plissken, what are you doing?
Playing with myself.
It's exactly what I thought I was going to be. That's one of the things I love about working with John Carpenter. You read it, you do it, you see it, and it's never anything other than what it was supposed to be.
The film is a statement about how I feel that we must protect people's libertarian rights. People themselves need to find the goodness in them. And I think it makes a political statement.
I think it's one of the films that I'm the proudest of in its entirety because the film works so well. And I love the character that I played, and I think she works well, too.
The memories of working on that movie burned in my mind, and it's still there, and fond memories.
John and I still, you know, we're good friends, so he knows that how much I appreciated this and how important it was for my career.
I've liked my career. I've enjoyed my career. And one of the biggest reasons is because I got to play Snake Plissken in John Carpenter's Escape from New York.
You know, we had a hit movie, and it became a cult film. I mean, for $5 million, give me a break.